Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, imagine this for a second. You're out hiking, you find a cool stick, and you show it to an AI. But instead of just saying stick, it gives it a name, a unique name, like, I don't know, Sir Reginald Branch the Third. Sounds a bit silly, maybe, a little out there. But believe it or not, that's a real thing people are seeing. And it kind of hints at where AI is going.
It really does. It's a fun example.
So today we're doing a deep dive into this fantastic article, Insane AI Breakthroughs Are Coming Faster Than You Think. And wow, it's like a snapshot of everything happening right now and what's coming next with AI, with robots, digital stuff. It's a lot. Our mission really is to cut through all that noise, give you a shortcut to understanding how these, frankly, mind-blowing developments are pushing up against our ideas of, autonomy, money, learning, even what being human means.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Touches on some fundamental concepts.
Exactly. So let's just jump right in. Okay, this stick naming AI, it seems playful, almost trivial on the surface, like a party trick. But what's really going on there? What does it tell us about large language models, the LLMs?
Well, what's so fascinating, I think, is how it shows these models are capable of more than just processing information. It points to personal interaction, creativity, and memory-based dialogue. That's the key. It remembers the stick, it engages with the idea of naming it, maybe even cracks a joke.
So it's remembering context, tracking things over time, not just responding to a single prompt.
Exactly. It's anchoring a kind of identity, even in a really simple, mundane task. It shows memory, context, even humor, like you said. It suggests a future where AI isn't just a tool we command.
Right, but more like an interactive companion, maybe even a slightly quirky one?
Potentially, yeah. Something that engages with us on a more personal level. There's a glimpse into that possibility.
Okay, so that's the whimsical side. But moving towards, let's say, more serious engineering, we're seeing humanoid robots doing some pretty unexpected things, like autonomously swapping out their own batteries in 3 parts, apparently, so they stay powered the whole time, no human needed.
Yeah, that's a big deal. It introduces a whole new level of robotic autonomy, doesn't it? We're getting closer to robots that can manage their own basic needs, functioning, resting, even handling their own power source.
Yeah.
Without us stepping in.
And the implications of that, I mean, if you connect that to the bigger picture.
Oh, it's huge. Think about manufacturing running 24/7, totally automated,
Right.
or complex logistics, warehouses, even things like long-term surveillance or exploration in dangerous places. It could really revolutionize industries where continuous operation is key. Human intervention becomes less and less necessary for certain core functions.
Right, almost automating the maintenance of the automation.
Precisely. Self-sufficiency.
Okay, speaking of self-sufficiency that feels almost alive, there's this story about a hobbyist. They created a fully autonomous AI companion called CodePuter, just using Claude on a standard Mac Mini. And this thing isn't just a chatbot.
No, this is where we get into agentic AI, and that's a really significant step. Agentic AI basically means AI models that can act on their own, pursue goals, make plans, not just react. And this CodePuter, it builds its own memory system. It manages files based on, get this, emotions. Like it has a SparkJoy folder for files it likes.
Okay, hold on. A SparkJoy folder for an AI.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
It interacts like it's this self-aware digital being. It exhibits these emergent behaviors, planning, working on its own little projects. It's fascinating.
Wow, that really does bend the mind. An AI with, feelings about its files and its own long-term goals. If you had an AI like that, truly managing itself, what would you even ask it to do? What kind of complex, independent stuff could it handle?
It makes you redefine independence in this digital space, doesn't it?
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, so AI is getting more agentic, more interactive, but also apparently better at understanding us. There's this new model, the Behavioral Foundation Model, BFM, and it's not trained on just text from the internet.
Right. This one's trained specifically on data from psychological experiments, surveys, behavioral studies. So unlike a standard LLM that predicts the next word, BFM is designed to infer the motivations behind why people do things.
So it's trying to understand the why, not just the what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It aims to predict behavioral changes, simulate different psychological scenarios. It raises this really important question. How much deeper can AI take our understanding of human psychology itself, with real potential applications in things like behavioral economics or even helping shape public policy?
Using AI to understand human irrationality, maybe?
Or at least model it much more effectively.
Interesting. And back on the robotics side, things are getting simpler in a way, or at least the learning process is. This MIT robot, it teaches itself how to control its limbs using just a single standard camera, like an RGB camera, the kind in your phone.
Yeah, it's mimicking how an infant learns, essentially, just by watching and trying things out. No complex sensors needed, no pre-programmed physics models necessarily. It builds this thing called a visual motor Jacobian field, fancy term, but it basically links what the robot sees with how its motors move.
So it learns if I move my arm like this, the image changes like that.
Exactly. It connects perception and motion directly through observation. And what's really fascinating here, the big potential, is that it could completely democratize robotics. If you don't need expensive specialized sensors, if robots can learn just by watching using cheap cameras, you could see much more scalable, affordable robots proliferating.
Wow. So if they can learn that easily just by seeing, how quickly could robots become, well, everywhere, doing all sorts of tasks? What does that mean for, the world around us?
The potential for rapid scaling is definitely there. It changes the economics of robotics.
And this AI integration, it's not just happening here on Earth, right? Even satellites are getting smarter. SAT-2, this tiny satellite, like 30-something centimeters across, launched in 2024. It's got AI on board.
That's right. And the AI isn't just, running background processes. It's actively working with the satellite's data up there. It filters images, compresses the data, but crucially, it can detect events like wildfires starting, or maybe water pollution on the satellite itself.
So it's doing the analysis in orbit, not just sending raw data back.
Exactly. It's edge AI, but in space. This makes things way more efficient. You don't need to beam down massive amounts of data. It allows for a potentially real-time Earth observation and alerts. Imagine constant, detailed monitoring for environmental changes, disasters.
Okay, but what does that mean then? Constant, real-time, global monitoring. How does that impact things like, well, privacy, national sovereignty? Who controls that data stream?
Those are exactly the big questions that come next. The capability pushes us to think about governance and ethics on a planetary scale.
Right. Okay, so we have all this incredible progress, efficiency, automation. But here's something that gives you pause. Economist Rita McGrath points out this productivity paradox. We've got AI, digital tools, boosting productivity metrics like crazy. But are people actually happier? More fulfilled? Apparently, maybe not.
Yeah, it's a really important point. And if you think about it, AI, especially current AI, tends to optimize for things that are easily measurable.
Yeah.
Efficiency, output, speed. But what about the things that are harder to quantify, like human connection, creativity, a sense of meaning or purpose?
Those don't show up neatly on a spreadsheet.
Exactly. So the question McGrath raises is, are we optimizing the measurable stuff, the productivity, at the expense of, well, joy? Are we inadvertently automating fulfillment out of life by focusing only on what the machines can count?
So if AI optimizes what we measure, maybe the problem isn't the AI, but what we choose to measure in the first place, in our work, in our economies.
That's definitely part of the conversation. It challenges us to think about what truly constitutes a good outcome beyond just efficiency.
Wow. Okay. Let's shift gears slightly to security. This sounds like science fiction. A chaos-modulated metasurface, offering physical layer encryption, wireless messages secured without needing passwords.
Yeah, it's a wild concept, but it's real research. So imagine a specially designed surface, like on your phone maybe. It has a unique, complex pattern. When a radio wave hits it, the pattern scrambles the signal in a chaotic way, physically.
Not with software, but the material itself messes up the signal.
Exactly. It twists the waves. And only a receiver with the exact inverse key, essentially, knowledge of that specific chaotic pattern, can unscramble it and receive the message. For everyone else, it's just noise. So it's like encryption baked right into the physical layer, into the material, a sort of smart shield.
So your device could literally just reject signals that aren't meant for its specific physical lock.
That's the idea. A fundamentally different way to think about securing wireless communication.
That's fascinating. But okay, AI isn't foolproof. We know that. And one big issue is this confidence problem in LLMs. They can apparently be very confident even when they're wrong. Or they get swayed too easily by feedback, even if they were right initially.
Yeah, that's a significant hurdle. They can generate plausible sounding answers and seem very sure about them, but lack consistent internal reasoning or grounding in, actual facts sometimes. And they can be easily influenced. If you tell an LLM its correct answer is wrong, it might just agree with you and change its answer, rather than sticking to its metaphorical guns.
Which is fine for creative writing maybe, but dangerous elsewhere.
Extremely dangerous in critical areas, yeah. Medicine, finance, engineering.
Yeah.
You need reliability.
Yeah.
You need the AI to know when it doesn't know, or to weigh evidence properly. The solution lies in building AI with better calibrated confidence. Models that can actually assess the truthfulness of information, not just its plausibility or how much external feedback supports it.
So it's not just about trusting AI, but having verifiable reliability, especially when the stakes are high.
Exactly. We need mechanisms to ensure that confidence aligns with competence.
Okay. Now, let's get really speculative. An idea from Elon Musk. He basically argues that super advanced AI will eventually destroy scarcity, make everything abundant, and if that happens, money becomes meaningless.
Right, it's a classic sci-fi trope, but he's posing it seriously. If machines can produce virtually anything we need, food, housing, energy, goods on demand, then the whole basis of our current economic system, which is based on scarcity and exchange,
Yeah.
it just dissolves. So in that kind of future, what constitutes wealth? Maybe it's not currency, but things like creativity, reputation, access to unique experiences, maybe even raw computation power?
A Star Trek economy, basically.
Kind of, yeah. A post-money society where maybe your contribution, your creativity, your reputation within that AI-powered collective is what matters, not how much currency you've accumulated.
So let me ask you, the listener, if money really became obsolete, what would you strive for? What would motivate you? How would society even measure success?
It's a profound thought experiment, isn't it? Really gets at our core motivations.
Totally. Now, bringing it back down to earth slightly, jobs. People worry AI will take coding jobs. But the perspective here is maybe. AI isn't replacing developers, but becoming more like a partner, a collaborator.
That seems to be the trend, yes. Tools like GitHub Copilot, for instance, they're changing how programming is done. It's becoming less about memorizing exact syntax for hours and hours.
All those semicolons.
Right. And more about describing the problem you want to solve, the logic you need, often using natural language. The AI helps translate that into code. So what's fascinating is how it might change who gets to be a creator, a builder.
You mean you wouldn't necessarily need a 4-year computer science degree to build something?
Potentially. If you can think clearly, logically, like a programmer, if you can break down problems and describe solutions, the AI can handle more of the translation into specific code. It democratizes the ability to create software, moving the focus from coding mechanics to problem solving.
So could you, listening right now, become a natural language developer just by getting good at asking the right questions, describing complex ideas clearly? That's quite a shift.
It really lowers the barrier to entry for creation.
Okay, and finally, a little nugget from evolutionary biology, but it connects surprisingly well. New research suggests that color vision in animals actually evolved before animals evolved colorful signals like bright feathers or skin for mating.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So the ability to see colors existed first. The biological machinery was there. But it took a long time after that for species to actually evolve ways to use that color vision for communication, for survival, for attracting mates.
So the tool came way before its most obvious application.
Exactly. Nature had the capability, the tool of color vision, long before the specific use cases like signaling emerged. And the article draws a parallel to us, to humans, like how we built the infrastructure of the internet before we really figured out social media or e-commerce or all the ways we use it now. The underlying capability often precedes our full understanding of its potential.
That's a great analogy. The potential is latent, waiting to be unlocked.
Precisely.
Wow. Okay, so this has been quite the journey. We've gone from AI naming sticks to robot swapping batteries, AI companions with feelings, understanding human psychology, all the way to planetary monitoring, the productivity paradox, physical encryption, and even questioning the future of money itself.
It really is a mosaic, isn't it? All these different threads showing how AI and related technologies aren't just tools, but forces challenging our core ideas about autonomy, economy, learning,
Yeah,
what it all means.
absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe something for you to think about.
Yeah, given all these rapid advances, AI taking on more complex tasks, tasks that feel very human, what's left? What fundamental human quality or maybe skill becomes the most valuable, the thing that's maybe irreplaceable, even in a world deeply shaped by these incredibly intelligent and autonomous systems?
What is uniquely human and valuable when machines get so capable?
Something to mull over. Until our next deep dive.